What up, everybody? This is Magic Mike and the Swag, and we are continuing our NBA season previews. Today we're doing the Miami Heat.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. The Miami Heat I'm excited for this season. I think there's a lot of moves that could potentially be made. They've got a lot of assets, and they've got a lot of interesting storylines going on.
Absolutely, 100%.
Right. So we're going to get into things. The big acquisitions this summer was they retained Dwayne Wade.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He's going to ride out into the sunset in his farewell tour. But dude can still play.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing with the Heat is they need that star player. And he's that guy for them. He could kind of be their figurehead who kind of, again, the last 5 minutes of the game can take over and do work. Other than that, Pat Riley did a good job of surrounding them with a bunch of role players that can do all the dirty work.
Absolutely.
Right? So your starting lineup, you're looking at Goran Dragic, who's like low-key
I like him. He's
one of the most effective point guards in the league. Statistically, he's like under the radar, does big things. I feel like you got to start Dwayne Wade on his farewell tour.
Yeah, you do.
All right, so it could potentially be Deion Waiters, but should probably be Dwayne Wade. You got Josh Richardson at small forward, Justice Winslow at the power forward, and Hassan Whiteside at center, right? With a lot of pieces coming off the bench, right? So, what are you thinking depth-wise?
I mean, you got James Johnson as well.
Absolutely.
I like him at the 4. I think James Johnson's a really good player. Now, there's been a lot of rumors that they want to get Jimmy Butler. That's a hot destination Miami is.
Right.
Now, the other thing is they will really kind of want to get rid of Whiteside.
Okay.
And
so funny.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They have a player they really like, a young player.
Bam.
There we go.
Right.
They're a big favorite on Bam. Bam is untradeable. They literally said we will not touch Bam.
And you got Kelly Olynyk too. So
absolutely.
Even worst case scenario, you throw Kelly at the 5 in a depleted East. You don't necessarily need this big juggernaut in Whiteside. But I think the problem with that is they've aired out too much of their dirty laundry where I don't think anybody wants him now.
Yeah.
Right? After they paid him?
No, I don't.
And where does he go?
Well, I think the biggest thing that, kind of prevents teams from trading for him is the fact that now you want bigs to space the floor.
Right.
Now, he's a fantastic at, getting rebounds and blocking and getting those putbacks. But if you can't space the floor in this league, that's what you really need. You need kind of, in a sense, a little undersized bigs to space the floor.
Right.
And that's why Kelly, I think, is so much more valuable. Kelly can shoot.
Right.
He spaces the floor. He's a big. And it's like you said, with that contract, unless they can get him to take a pay cut, which, probably isn't going to happen, it's going to be hard to move him, but it's definitely something they feel like they need to do.
Okay.
I think it would be smart to move him.
Now, this is kind of thinking maybe a little outside the box, but let's say there's like the Pelicans, right? The Pelicans need to hold on to Anthony Davis. So, which is increasingly becoming harder and harder, especially after you just lost DeMarcus Cousins and Rajon Rondo, which were 2 huge pieces for you. But they do have a few other pieces that maybe they could package together for something. So if Miami's just looking to get rid of Whiteside and kind of move past him, do you think they could package something together to bring in Whiteside, and would that be worth it to them? I mean, to me, they seem like they've always tried to get a nice athletic, defensive-minded center to anchor the middle so that they can let Anthony Davis kind of roam around the perimeter a little bit more. Now you bring in, I mean, he's not quite an all-star, but you bring in kind of a secondary star, right, in Whiteside, which kind of frees up Anthony Davis to roam around. And obviously they kind of had their little Twin Tower situation last year with DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah.
Cousins could move around a little bit more in Whiteside, but it worked.
Yeah.
They did good with it. So, may you package, Miricic and some of these other young pieces and just try to, Miami just wipes their hands of Whiteside and moves forward with Bam and Kelly Olynyk. Miricic could stretch the floor for them, which again gives them some versatility with what they're doing. Again, I think I've got a whole bunch of theories on what the Pelicans could do to slowly start rebuilding that roster around Anthony Davis. But do you like that trade?
I do. I think it's time for Miami to move on from Whiteside.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other untouchable, based off what I read for this article, I don't know if that's changed, but Kelly.
Okay.
They really are a big fan of Kelly. Now, so if you have Kelly and Bam as basically untradables, Whiteside's, I think anything they get back for Whiteside, they're cool with.
Right.
Now, I think the Pelicans, that would be a good move for them. But at the same time, like you said, how likely is Anthony Davis to stay? It's starting to kind of
now
seem
you get another star in Whiteside. And again, that's a Pelicans thing. But again, if you could trade him, you'd have to put some other contracts in there to make sense of it.
Yeah.
But the big piece is you'd get Mirčić, who could stretch the floor for Miami a little bit, which gives them a little bit more versatility with driving lanes. Because for their young core, they want to get out and run and they want to attack the hoop.
Yeah.
Which I like. I like that move for them.
Yeah.
And again, just to get rid of Whiteside, because I think they just need to shed themselves of that contract. And even for him, because I like Whiteside, I think for him, he just needs a new start. He needs a new scenery. It'd be cool to see him pair up with somebody else who can kind of, help him out.
Get the job done.
Plus, I think that defense would be, like, stifling.
Yeah.
Anyway, are they trending up? Or are they trending down?
I think they're, in a sense, rebuild mode.
Right. Absolutely, and they've made some moves.
Yeah.
That again, they're making moves. They're they're on the verge of shaping it up.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, this season, even though Wade doesn't want it, this is all about Wade.
Yeah. Right.
And it's gonna be more about Wade than what the team can actually do. And once again, as we've discussed in the previous videos, it's just the league has gotten so competitive where there's a couple top tier teams that it's Boston Celtics season in the East. It's Toronto season.
Right.
It's Philly's season.
Right.
You got the Warriors season. What about the Rockets season?
Right.
You have these teams that are going to be favorites, and with the natural, kind of trends, Miami is in rebuild mode.
Okay,
but they're still playoff contenders.
But it's not like a cut and dry, not every team is looking to win the championship every season. And obviously every team would love to win the championship.
There's favorites.
But there's tiers to it. And so Miami's got a few tiers they need to get to before they're even thinking about, hey, we need to make a championship. But in order to get there, they need to be able to get to that next, phase. And so I think for them it's becoming, I mean, they've been in the playoff picture last couple seasons. Really for them, I think that next tier is more consistency and to really kind of try to get that top tier of Eastern Conference teams. So like you mentioned, Boston Celtics, Toronto Raptors, who are going to be the 1 and 2 seeds. Then you've got the Sixers, who are going to be up there. Other than that, I think that 4th seed is up for grabs.
Yeah.
And right now, it's maybe looking like Milwaukee or the Pacers. Maybe Washington. But I think Miami, again, with a lot of these young pieces, and Dwayne Wade, he's pretty serviceable at his age. You could potentially, fight for that fourth spot and really be a solid piece.
Absolutely.
Now, in order to do so, each one of those top 3 teams has stars.
Yeah.
And Miami needs some stars. And so, Jimmy Butler saga has been going on, and they've been linked to Miami, right? That name's been up there. They said that Jimmy wants to go to a big market like a New York or an LA. However, could they sell him on South Beach? He's a competitor who wants to win. That sounds like Pat Riley. Well, right? You pair him up with Pat Riley in South Beach in Florida that doesn't have the tax situation that California and New York has.
Well, I don't. The cool thing about this equation is, cool whatever way you want to describe it, is in a sense Jimmy really doesn't have a choice where he gets traded. It's we want the best deal possible, and if Miami gets the best deal possible, he's getting traded there.
What do you think they'd be willing to trade for him?
I mean, that's really interesting. Like I said, they had a couple untouchables. And it's also what the Timberwolves want, and the Timberwolves pretty much wanted what the Heat weren't willing to give up.
Right.
And I think the Heat are basically just saying, hey, man, the dude wants his money.
Right.
He wants to get paid. We're willing to pay him. He doesn't want to be there. We'll take him off your hands. But Minnesota at the same time is like, well, hey, hold on a second. We were stupid. We broke the bank to get this guy here. We lost a lot of pieces.
Right.
He's going to jump ship after one season. We want to kind of, get some money back on our investment. And I honestly think that Minnesota is just going to be a loser in this whole situation.
They're definitely going to be a loser in whatever they get for him. But if you could get like a Josh Johnson for him.
Or James Johnson?
Josh Richardson, my bad. Josh Richardson.
Yeah, fine. Then just straight up trade. I'm sure Minnesota's going to want a lot more than that. But if the Heat get that offer, I would. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
I think that'd be huge for him.
I mean, as much as Jimmy Butler, like what he does and what he brings, and I know how bad Tibbs wants him to come back, the relationship is soured. It's done. Well, I honestly think the best. Really, we're just got to move on.
Tibbs isn't going to trade him. Tibbs has no intention of trading Jimmy Butler whatsoever.
But he needs. I think you got to get rid of Tibbs. That's a whole different.
I do too. You
got to get rid of Tibbs. The owner has to get new management. Mm-hmm. I mean, keeping Wiggins and Cat, great. They showed which way they want. Just get rid of Butler. Stop dragging this on.
Right.
Stop getting all these ex-Bulls players. And literally just.
Right.
It's honestly kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
It really is. Tibbs is living in the past and thinks he's gonna.
They weren't good. They weren't that good when all those guys were in Chicago. I know Derrick Rose wanted to keep it like
though. And I mean, they're aging. I mean, you got young guys. And
that was in a crappy East.
It's to the point where it's just ridiculous. Jimmy Butler wants out. The dude wants to play. I mean, like you said, he's a professional. He signed a contract, so he's going to play. I mean, there's the practice where he basically took the third stringers and smoked, Wiggins and Cat. They don't want to play. Butler doesn't want to be there, and it's honestly just. It's stupid. Just trade him.
Right.
You're going to lose in general. You just admit it. You screwed up. This is bad trade.
Right.
You got robbed.
So what do you think could be a realistic package?
I honestly don't think anything is going to be crazy realistic because I think the Timberwolves are so set in their mind that we lost so much. We want to recuperate. Right. We're giving you an all-star. And I think Jimmy Butler's antics is making it kind of hard to trade because it's like, look at dude, he literally doesn't want to be here.
Right. Well, I know, like, Pat Riley has come out and said a few things, like, Tibbs, you need to get your house in order. There was a few other words they chose to use. But, yeah. So, I'm just wondering a solution that would give Minnesota some pieces. I mean, we talked about Whiteside. Maybe you package Whiteside in that, which wouldn't be ideal for the Wolves, but then you get a defensive anchor. And Tibbs is a defensive guy. That frees Cat to kind of move on the perimeter. Mm-hmm. So you kind of got a twin tower situation, which again worked for the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Again, they're a little bit more versatile, but again, you can move Towns around a little bit. You get an anchor in Whiteside. You may throw in a Josh Richardson, and maybe a second round pick or something. Mm-hmm. And then Miami gets Jimmy Butler in return.
Yeah.
Which again, that's a whole other thing. Gabrielle Union posted a little picture of her on the beach, and Jimmy Butler was like, "Ooh, damn!" And Dwayne Wade was getting,
Yeah, but I think that was more brotherly love in a sense. Like, hey, man.
I don't know how much of it do you think is brotherly love, and how much of it's beefing? Because they didn't click in Chicago, so why would they click in Miami?
Well, they're supposedly supposed to be boys, though. Like, they supposedly get along. Now, I mean, we don't know the relationship.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know the extent to it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm sure Wade was a little kind of agitated. It's like, hey.
And well, maybe they are boys, and, like, Wade saying, yo, I'll knock you out. That could have just been, like, boys just, like, chatting.
Yeah.
And, like, everybody else, like, just like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah, they take it out of context.
Yeah. But anyway, all right. Well, wrapping this thing up. Miami, I think they're definitely trending up. Mm-hmm. They got a lot of nice young pieces, but what are they doing for the next step? I don't think any of these players are going to be transcendent players that will become superstars. Mm-hmm. But they're definitely nice little pieces that you can start packaging together to bring in a Jimmy Butler or to bring in some of these other pieces that could potentially make you better. Yeah. So I think, again, what they're striving for is to be kind of that top tier of Eastern Conference teams. And to do something, again, I think you need to maybe lose a trade a little bit or maybe over-trade, overtrade some assets to bring in a star, and hopefully start packaging something where you can start recruiting and bringing other players in. But anyway, there you have it. Subscribe below and keep following us, because we're going to keep giving you just this NBA content. We're covering previews. We're previewing all the teams, and yeah, that's all we got.